Hey, good morning, my crafty cuties. Welcome back to my channel. This morning we are going to finish up our Grove quilt. I've got to put together the next part of the pattern is, let's see here. Yes, we've did all of our blocks, we assembled all of our blocks, and now we have to put together our rows. So that's what we're going to be doing right now, is putting together our rows. So, and I also have cut this fabric for our rows, and I'm gonna lay that right there. I'm trying a new camera setup, so hopefully I don't bump you guys and make you, sick and nauseated and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to move this over here, I think would be a better place to get to it. I don't know. I'm not sure, so I'm not reaching around the camera. I actually may change your angle and bring you in at a different angle, and that way I'm not bumping you. So give me 1 second. Okay, guys, let's try this angle and see if this is a little bit better for you. Move our pattern pieces down here, and maybe I won't bump you guys, hopefully. Gotta watch my leg of my chair. Okay, so we are to the point to where we're putting it together, and I'm probably not gonna be the chatty Cathy today. I'm not sure. I do have an audio book that I'm listening to, so I thought about listening to the audio book while we are sewing away. Oh, and I gotta change my foot because I was doing some other sewing last night, getting ready, making a sample block for our next sew along. And that will be a Lori Holt sew along and the Be Vintage. I forgot, I have to change my foot. Isn't it amazing how smart sewing machines are? You know, it's absolutely amazing. 97D. If you're a Bernina owner, you have a couple of different types of feet that you can use for your patchwork. I prefer the 97D. It's preference. It's just personal preference. It's just the one I prefer. I have the other one that has the guide on it, but I honestly really don't care for it at all. Am I sewing this together right? Yeah. This piece looks awful short. Looks like this piece does look awful short. And with the feed dog system on your Bernina, it's not gonna pull in like a standard sewing machine would pull in. It did pull it, most of it in. It did. It sure did. It pulled most. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. There we go. Move some of this stuff out of the way. All right. So it's a house, a tree, a house, and a tree. So that's what we are going. I did not trim these blocks down. I guarantee you that's what it is. So hopefully you guys have a better view. Yeah, I can see this is fitting perfectly. Like perfect. I did oil my machine before we started. Check the bobbin. Oh, that's the one thing I love about this machine is the bobbin. You can sew forever on a bobbin. I mean, forever. Okay, and then a house. Let me see here. I'm going to go back and take a look because we may stop where we're at and trim these houses. So they should measure 10.5 by 15.5. And it seems mine are a little long. Now that one's much better. Go figure. Go figure. So we'll get this pulled in. Take a few stitches to anchor. I line it up here at the bottom. Hopefully you guys can see that. I think you can. I could zoom out for a little wider angle if I need to. Hopefully this tripod really, really helps. Sip of coffee. Okay, so I'm gonna flip our pattern back over so I can not get confused. Okay, and then the next row starts with the tree. And I'm paying absolutely no attention to how I'm putting these together. I'm just putting them together. Forgot to bump my needle over. All right, and then a house or a cabin. It's a cabin. Line it up. I really should be pinning these, but I'm not, so there we go. And if you have to work in a little bit, like there's just a little bit that you need to work in, if you hold your fabric up like this, and so those feed dogs tend to, they will pull in more. They'll pull in the excess fabric. I mean, you can't pull in like inches of fabric, but if it's just a little bitty bit, it'll pull that in. If you hold your fabric up and feed it down like this, it will pull that bottom fabric in faster than it does the top, if you didn't know that. Okay, so we got a tree, a house, and then another tree. I think this quilt is so stinking cute. I do, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Okay, and then cabin. Whoop. My fabric slipped. I was probably pulling on it, truth be told. So guys, how did y'all like the silent, not really a tutorial, you're just watching me sew. How did y'all like that? Did you like it? Do you want to hear some chitty chattiness? Or I know that there's mixed feelings out there, and if you're gonna be ugly about it, you know, I want to hear your opinion, but don't be ugly about it. Is that a good way to describe it? Because there's 100 billion channels out there. You don't have to just listen to mine, or watch mine, or subscribe to mine. You know, and I'm that way. If I find a channel that I don't particularly care for, I don't leave ugly. Okay, so this one, see how much too short this is? So line it up at the bottom. hold your fabric up at an angle. Just hold it up just a little bit. Make sure everything stays lined up. You can't pin if you're going to be doing this, okay? Just make sure everything stays lined up. Stop often and check. Make sure you're still lined up. Hold it up at that angle. Keep it up there. And see, we've come out almost perfect at the bottom. Close enough for me. But, you know, I've come across channels that I didn't particularly care for. You know, maybe it was the sound of the person's voice. You know, we all have things that bother us. I mean, you know, we do. We all have things that bother us. And I don't leave negative, ugly comments. I just move on and see if I can find another channel, you know, with the content that I'm looking for. Sometimes, you know, you can't find another channel with the content that you're looking for, and that's okay. No, then I suck it up, Buttercup, you know. But there's no reason in this world that we have to be ugly to our fellow humankind. When there's so much diversity out here, there's so many choices. Technology has just really, the internet has just so opened the door for us to information. You know, if we have a question, my go-to is usually YouTube. I'm going to YouTube so I can figure whatever it is out, you know. And but yeah, with today's day and age, you know, you can just move on. So anyway, I'm curious, what did you think about the video with absolutely no sound? And then the other one, I only talked right at the end of it when we were squaring up these trees. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. How about a mix? Would y'all like a mix? You know, some sewing, not talking, you know. Let me know. I'm going to stop right here just to make sure. We're going to put our little ender piece in here where we're stitching for our little 16 patch. And I thought of another quilt I could have made with those, but I'm too far along now. Whoops, I did hit the thing right there. I'm sorry. I jiggled you guys. Sorry. I did jiggle you guys hunting for my... All right. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm just using my cutter, my gypsy quilter. There we go. Just using this little thing. It has thread cutters on each side. It's actually a razor blade and it's replaceable. You just take the screw out, pop the old razor blade out, put a new one in, and you're good to go. And it can also fold up flat for storage. But I got this in my sew sampler box and I love it. I do love it. I do like my sew sampler box. Very, very much. Okay, so the first row, and I had to pull this one in quite a bit, but I think we're going to be okay. So the first row is a cabin, a tree, because I don't want to sew too many. And I think... I just want to make sure this is going to line up which side I need to sew it from. Lock that baby down. another cabin. Another cabin and a tree. So let me find one that doesn't have, let's see, what color tree? We got a brown tree. Let's do a green tree. Okay. Whoops, that does happen. My foot catches it. It's the only thing about this foot. It will catch the fabric on the edge of that, and it'll do it every time. Have a little frog in my throat. Okay, the next one is a tree and a cabin. Gotta go with this cabin. Now my cabins, for some reason, well, we just discovered it. I didn't trim the blocks up. It's not like it's a big secret. So I'm going to put the cabin on the bottom so we can feed in any extra. Take our few locking stitches, match it up here on that other end. Make sure all of our fabric is in alignment. And I'm having to sit at kind of an angle, so. There we go. So it was a tree and a cabin. Now it's a tree and another cabin. Again, I'm going to put the cabin on the bottom because those blocks are a little bigger. Make sure we're all square, all lined up. And I hope I'm not hitting you guys with a knee lift. I don't think I am. I love the knee lift. Gosh, I love it. Just so I keep myself on track, is we are going to do this row. Cabin, tree, right? And then a cabin. So there's 4. And that gets this row done. Tree, cabin, tree, cabin. Okay. that one. Okay. Now we need a house. So it's a cabin and a tree. Now I need a cabin. Whoop. Cabin and a tree. Okay, so now I need a tree. Oops, wrong one. 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a tree. And okay, this is the tree, house, tree. Sorry guys, I really can confuse myself. Tree, cabin, tree, cabin, tree, cabin. So, cabin. right, now I'm using my thread bunnies because I'm debating on continuing on that one that I'm doing over there because I have another idea. So we're going to the ironing board. We're going to press our seams, and then we're going to come back and do the in-between and then the borders, and we're done. Okay, to create our strips that go in between right here, let me open the pattern up. Hopefully you guys can see this. Here we go. These strips right here. So what I did is they are 2.5-inch strips, and I did 45s. I used my binding tool. I have a binding tool ruler, and I use that to cut my strips so that when I put it together, and I always like to take a little back stitch right here. It doesn't have to be much, but just a little back stitch. And then put that in there. Right. Okay. And now we have our sashing that goes in between our rows put together in this. And I like doing it this way. It makes a prettier, to me, it's prettier. And I didn't get it quite right there, but it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to share this with you. I didn't record me doing this. My dad was over. So anyway, that's how I did that. And I can record it the next quilt we make. So you can see how I actually do it. Okay, so I want to show you how I measure. Yeah, you can see. Okay, making sure you can see. There we go. All right, I'm using the front-facing camera, and the quality's not as good on it, but at least I can see that you can see. So I take the edge here that's cut at an angle, and we're gonna cut it. We're gonna trim it off. I line it up on my cutting mat. Okay, we're going to trim that edge off, just like that. And I have this huge tape measure. It's a 120-inch tape measure. And I just line it up, the edge of the tape measure with the edge of the fabric. And without pulling or stretching, I just kind of do this number. And we're looking for 56.5 inches, which is right here. I put me a mark there. Okay, we're done with the tape measure. And I shove the tape measure up under there where it lives because I use it all the time. And then I try to line my mark up with one of the lines on my cutting mat, and the bottom edge of my fabric is lined up with a line on my cutting mat, and I just pull that over, adjust it to get it where it needs to be, and bada boom, we're done. That's it, and I have some scraps there. All right, so now we're going to the sewing machine. We're gonna put our in between our rows in, and we're almost done with this. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to get my long arm quilter and start quilting. So I'll get you set up over at the sewing machine, and I'll be right back. All right. So when I get all of this sewn together, I am going to take a break for a week and clean my sewing room, which I clean it almost after every project. But I need to get ready for my long arm. So I will bring you guys along for the journey as we clean stuff up, clean stuff out, donate stuff, and all that good stuff. All right, so put that up there. I am going to pin this. Okay, put that over there. Just barely missed losing my point there. Okay, so in order to save the one that I sewed on the top and not rip it out, it's easy, and I'm sure y'all already figured it out. You just take the next one and put it on top, like this. All right. And we're going to pin. I love, love, love this little quilt. It is so cute. I know y'all have heard me say it 50 times. So, and then I kind of like to stretch it out. Wow, this one has got a lot that's going to have to be taken in. Wow. Let me put this one. I'm going to hold off on that one. And then, yep, just like that, a tree. I had it wrong to begin with, I do believe. Have to have a tree. Oops. Shouldn't talk with pins in your mouth. Hopefully y'all can see. I pin it on each end like this. And then I just kind of, oh yeah, that's much better. Okay. And then I'll pin again right in here somewhere. Just a couple pins, just to hold it. That's all we're wanting to do, is to hold it in place. You know what? I forgot about my tree. Okay, I'm sewing the bottom. Okay. We're okay. Okay. If you hear that noise, that is my iRobot robot vacuum. There we go. iRobot Roomba vacuum. There we go. I was trying to figure out how I said it. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's put our thread bunny up under there. Make sure we got it sewed together correctly. Oh yes. Oh yes. All right, and then our next row goes on the bottom of this one. All right, I'm gonna carry on. I'm gonna carry on sewing in this manner, and I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, we're down on the final hurdle and it's time to start putting on our borders. We're all pressed, and then I will take a video of the completed quilt for you. I'll add it at the end, of course. Okay, and these are, I actually made these strips 5.5 or 5 inches, which is about it's a 5 because the pattern called for 5.5. And they're just seamed together with a simple seam. I didn't do these on the diagonal. And we are going to put on our top and bottom, and then we're going to put on our sides. Okay. Alrighty. So now our final border on this one, I've had to piece it a couple of times. It was not this one. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, this one of them has a couple of pieces in it because I had to make sure that I have enough. I think I have just enough of this to do the binding as well on the quilt. course. Oh, it's wrapped around the... Okay. All right, guys. All right, my crafty cuties. I'm going to take this to the ironing board, iron it the same way as I did the other two, trim them off, and I'll meet you outside as I put the quilt out for you to see.